Hey guys, I'm Ephram McNutt. I'm here with Pats Cast, here with Chris and Kevin. Thanks for tuning in.
Loose puck gathered up by Fawcett. Near the top of the mid-slot, he loads, he fires, scores! Fifth of the season for Pete Fawcett. Fawcett to the line. Hamilton, right circle Mays. McNutt, a drive and a stop. Rebound, scores! Cullen Fawcett bats it out of midair. Lansard in the slot, steals, shoots, scores! Fourth for the season for Zach Lansard. Goals in 2 consecutive games. Lansard around the Edmonton goal, centering pass in front, McNutt, turning, fires, and a low save, rebound in front, scores! Keep on digging! It's the Greek, Zach Pantelakis. Backhand pass intercepted, Jay Seglin, he's got a breakaway short-handed, backhander, scores! First career short-handed goal for Jay Seglin. Hamilton loading, doesn't shoot. Hamilton now fires, hit the post, rebound, scores! A power play goal for Caden Brown.
Johnny on the spot. Caden Brown finishes it off on the rebound there from Hauser.
That's the Pats Cast, the unofficial Grand Pats podcast. It's January 19th. It's episode 192. Chris here, Kevin there. How was your night, Kev?
Not bad. Kind of cold. Good old Saskatchewan.
Oh.
Warm one day, cold for 3, warm for 3, cold for 3.
Yeah, it's just a little chilly. I didn't even step outside. No, that's a lie. I stepped outside today, but didn't go anywhere.
It's chilly.
It's real cold. Yeah.
Especially when I got to put a jacket and little booties on my dog to take her outside.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. I was out and about on Saturday, but wasn't as bad. I don't think it's today, but yeah. And yeah, it's like you said, it's going to be warm here right away.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Up and down.
Yeah. Just kind of like the team recovering up and down. Some wins, some losses, kind of all over the map. But, I mean, not playing bad over the last little stretch. You know, they're just under 500, which isn't bad to see, right? Like with all this roster flux and
especially after losing 15-16 earlier in the season. It's nice to get them at least playing decent-ish hockey.
Yeah.
Like they may not be putting up the wins like we kind of hope not.
But they're not getting blown out or, you know.
But they're not really getting totally destroyed, yeah.
No.
We'll see how this week goes, though, the rest of this week.
Yeah, this is a tough stretch on the road in Alberta. A couple of good teams coming up. Got through one already. Wasn't the worst game here on Sunday, but yeah, we should go back to Wednesday. Red Deer. Ooh, surprise, Red Deer, a 1-goal game.
That was a battle of really young teams. Like so many 17s in that game, so many young guys. Like Red Deer had, I think, 4 of their main older guys out. So it was a whole bunch of young guys. And it actually wasn't a terrible game.
No, it wasn't actually. Like, yeah, 2 teams that struggled to score, but it was a 4-3 game. There was some scoring chances. It wasn't like we were talking there. We've seen way worse games in person. Like,
oh yeah,
there's been a lot of Regina Moose Jaw duds, and this, you know, there's some jam between these 2 teams. Like Red Deer's pretty chippy.
They're
physical.
Big.
Yeah,
they're pretty big, and Pats aren't that big. So
no, but Pats battled and come out with a win. You know, that's 2 in a row now with Red Deer, right? They got the overtime game last time in Red Deer, and they hung on for a 4-3 win. And you look at the goal scores like Klassen, Pantelakis, Lansard, all these young guys scored. I mean, that's all they have is young guys. So
yeah, it's true.
but Klassen, the nice out of the air on the power play. That's a nice goal there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and another kind of big point in this game was Huey getting another start and looking pretty good. He's
bounced back quite well.
Yeah, he's looked a lot better lately. He came in that Portland game, but like we said, he only gave up 3 on 30 in 40 minutes, which isn't bad. And then he had the one in Moose Jaw, right? He won in Moose Jaw, and then this appearance here. So, you know, he's maybe just coming, you know, just whatever that first half was, just wasn't the greatest for him.
It was a dud.
Yeah. So now he's coming around, right? Like
He's got something to prove, so he's got to show off for next year, right? So
yeah. So he had 2 wins in those 3 games: Moose Jaw, and then the Portland appearance, and then the Red Deer game. So 2 out of those last 3 were wins. So I mean, he only had 1 win in the first half of the season. So
yeah, he's bounced back really well.
I know, like the save percentage is up. Save percentage is up 872. So like, I mean, it's not the greatest, but it's not horrible.
It was way lower than that before.
Yeah, exactly right.
And he also took 2 minor penalties.
Yeah,
in Red Deer or against Red Deer.
The one he just thought, well, I just got to play the puck or else.
You could tell his whole body language was like, oh, I got to touch it. Like,
yeah, and he probably could have got away without touching it. He could have just got back in the net, and the guy would have had to come around the net. And
probably didn't want to take that chance, though.
Yeah, and then...
and then he took a tripping minor later on.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. That was the other one, the trip, yeah. But, yeah, so he got on the score sheet quite a bit there. Not like that. I don't know what the guy's name is in the NHL. He got a goal and an assist. Like,
yeah, it's Pittsburgh's goalie.
Pittsburgh, yeah, right. But yeah, overall, like, I mean, it was a decent game, right? It was an entertaining game. Held on at the end. You know, you get that 4th goal early in the 3rd. Red Deer ties it up mid-3rd, and you're like, okay, here we go. It's got to come down to it, and they're able to hang on. So nice to see that. And against a team
there was hardly any faceoffs in that game too, which was nice.
Yeah, it was a quick game.
Lots of flow.
Yeah. Like
but wait till the Edmonton game. There was a lot less faceoffs.
Like you said last week, we're like, okay, we got to get the Red Deer game because you don't know what the rest of this week and into next week is going to be like, right? So
yeah.
So got that done. That was nice. But yeah, it's just nice. Go to the game. It's a nice game. Entertaining game. It was nice to see. So, anything else stand out for you for that game?
No, it was like you said. It was chippy. I like that. I like.
Yeah, a little edge to it. Yeah.
They don't play often, but I like the fact that
they're always. It always, like you said, they don't play often, but it always seems like there's a little thing with Red Deer. Obviously, I don't really watch any other Red Deer games. It's probably a bit of their game, you know, that Brent Sutter game. Right?
The old school style.
He's not coaching anymore, but you know, a little sandpaper to the game. Yep. But yeah, I guess then, like you said, then to Edmonton, little more skill with Edmonton, but the Pats are right there. It was just basically came down to a couple mistakes cost them this game, unfortunately. Like the first goal, you throw it off the middle in your own zone, like, oof, that's
right to a 19 now 20 goal scorer.
Yeah, right. And that's a tough start. But I mean, it didn't. Yes, it put them in the hole 1-0, but I mean, it didn't sink them. Like they came back, tied it up later, and then you give up a power play goal, but then you get a shorthanded, a nice one by Eglund. Like that was a beauty. Like nice to see him pick up another, but then brain fart and 3 guys looking at the puck carrier, like Timbits hockey. Everybody's just chasing the puck carrier, and there's 2 guys wide open, and
and too good was too good.
Yeah,
buried it
exactly. So and then that was the middle of the game, and the Pats couldn't. It didn't seem like they generated a ton of quality scoring chances in this game.
Not really, no.
They only had 22 shots, like 8, and 6. Like, not great, but I mean, Edmonton is a better team than Red Deer, right? If you're just comparing those 2 teams.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Edmonton had a little bit of sandpaper too. Yeko
especially
stood out.
Yeko.
Yeah, he kind of stood out. He was kind of in guys' faces and getting in the middle things, but there's a little.
And he's massive compared to most of our players.
He's a big guy, right?
Pushing his way around a little bit here and there.
Yeah, so there was another too many men penalty, but that one was not a good call at all.
Well,
Just that one.
It was so quick. I've seen teams have 7 or 8 guys on the ice longer than the Pats had
one
the
guy.
6th guy.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like
they've taken a bunch
hopped
lately.
off. Yeah.
They've taken a bunch lately, but that one was like, it's not like, like they were carrying the puck up. One guy was going off. The guy jumped on first, right? It's not like,
but the referee was right there, saw it.
No, for sure.
I don't know if hopping off flagged the ref right away. It was like, because as soon as he hopped off, it was like tweet penalty.
Yeah, right. So, but yeah, it seemed like the Pats just couldn't generate quality scoring chances at Edmonton. That's kind of my takeaway there. And
yeah, they couldn't get anything to try to even it up. It was tough. They needed a goal in the 3rd to tie it, and they only had 6 shots. So
yeah,
couldn't generate anything. I don't know. Maybe not having Babcock on the defense hurt them.
Yeah,
I'm sure it did. Of course it did, because he's
it didn't help, right?
Didn't help for sure, because he's like their leader on the D. So
definitely. Yeah, and he wasn't in that Red Deer game either, unfortunately. But and then into Calgary, he wasn't there either. I don't know how long he's going to be out. Brad kind of talked about it after the Edmonton game, a little bit of appendicitis. They're just trying to calm it down, I guess. So they're just kind of yeah.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, so they're just I don't even know if he's on the road trip. I don't know if he went.
If it's appendicitis, I probably would have got him to stay home.
Yeah, right. So, but now they're into more issues. Is there anything else before we jump ahead? You got anything else in Edmonton? I mean that.
No. Well, let's talk about how fast paced the Red Deer game was. There was only 41 faceoffs in the Edmonton Oil King game. It was.
I didn't realize that. It didn't seem as fast though, but yeah.
It was just like. I looked after him, like, there's not many faceoffs at all, because there's been games where they've had 75, 76 faceoffs.
Yeah.
And this 40? Was 41.
Yeah, that's
like, wow.
Yeah, the next game has 68, so.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
But, 48, 41 to 68.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought the Red Deer game was flowed pretty good.
Well, because I think it was more because the teams were more evenly matched. Both teams had similar styles or similar
skill levels,
abilities, or whatever. Yeah.
It kind of seemed like Edmonton dominated the play at times, and the Pats kind of just hung on at times to to stay in the game. But
they got caught in their zone a few times.
But
just like against Calgary.
Yeah, obviously Calgary is a much better team, and so speaking of having Babcock out, they didn't play with Bridgman either. So that's like your two of your 3 top D men are out, and
your 2 biggest defensemen.
Yeah, and your 2 biggest defensemen. 2 of your
3 oldest defensemen. So it was McNutt and the boys today.
Literally, yeah. And then you're playing Calgary. Like, they've got talent up and down the lineup, unfortunately. But I mean, it was only
7 NHL drafted players, 6 of them playing.
Yeah. I mean, it was only 4-1, but Pats didn't have much, right? Like,
Huey again. Spurts. They had spurts, and that's about it.
I thought Huey played pretty well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Like the first goal, you watched the replay or the highlights on the goals. Like the Minio goal, he was double screened.
Yeah,
by 2.
He waved at the direction of the puck. He had no chance.
By 2 Pats players too. Unfortunately,
he had no chance.
The Wetch goal, it was just a rebound in front on the power play. Like, there's not much you can do there. And then the Tulk goal, he gets a breakaway, right? And the guy's got 24 or 20, something like that.
24 or 25 now. 24 and 25.
Yeah, there you go. So Wetch got his 20th. That's what it was. Yeah, and and I mean, guy scores on a breakaway, and it's 3-1, middle of the game, and Pats didn't have much.
That was pretty much the finishing shot right there.
Yeah, right. I mean, they didn't play bad. They just
definitely not. They played well, having 5D.
Yeah,
being young as they are, having 4 17-year-olds on defense with McNutt, the voice of reason.
I wonder what his minutes were like.
Yeah, he was out there a lot.
Yeah,
So
probably over 30 minutes.
Yeah, he was probably over or at 30 or maybe over, yeah. But Calgary did play their vets a lot, like their top lines a lot. So like they rolled their top 2/3 lines, like their fourth line was here and there. So
Yeah,
they wanted to win. They want to get the wins. So I don't blame them.
Hauser starting, right? So
Yeah.
they were going for it. Speaking of Hauser, he made a great save on Eggland. Another shorthanded, right? Breakaway. Yeah, he kind of went with the same move, but just couldn't get it up, and Hauser made a toe save. So that might have changed something. Probably not.
Well, it would have pulled them within one.
Yeah, I think that would have made it 3-2. Yeah, but
they didn't have enough gas in the tank at the end.
No,
Calgary sat back, I'm sure, at the end there. So
yeah,
they only had 6 shots in the third. They could have probably stepped on it if they wanted to.
Yep. So
they got some skill. Tulk, Kindle, Wetch, like they're skilled guys. How? Well,
Minio.
Of course, how?
He kept them off scoreboard though.
They got some skill.
Yeah. No, they're making a run. This group of death here in the Central Division, as the Pats roll through this week, right? They're getting all 3 top teams here. So, I mean,
the four top Central teams in a row.
Yeah, it's true with Edmonton. Seeing Edmonton,
Calgary, and
yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, so yeah, they're in Alberta for the rest of the week. Tuesday, Wednesday, is it? What is it here? Mesnat next, and then Lethbridge.
Oh man, if they're down to 5 defensemen for those 2 games, they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, but Ken Schneider said
after the game, Ken said that they're probably going to bring someone in from the sounds of it to make it 6D. So
yeah, so
speculate who you want. We don't know.
We don't know
anything.
But you're just looking at the depth chart. You got Jet Deschamps playing U18. You got Fenton Man playing MJHL. And then you got the 15-year-old Aiden Wagner playing
with the Blazers.
So I mean, kind of just looking at it, Fenton Man probably is your best option. At least he's playing junior hockey. Jet Deschamps, pretty small guy. I don't know what his size is now, but I mean, if he's the only option, he's the only option. If Wagner's
even
the
if
only
he grew
guy,
a little bit, he's still pretty small.
Yeah. I mean, it's whoever is available, right?
Yeah.
So
if it sounds, that's what it sounded like with what Ken said. So
yeah,
I guess we'll see. They don't have much time. They play in a day and a half, 2 days. So.
Exactly. So whoever is coming up, obviously not going to replace Bridgerman's minutes or what he can do.
Size.
But yeah, size. But they got another body's another body, right?
But no matter what, it's gonna be McNutt and the boys.
Yep.
No matter who they bring in, the next one up is what, 17, 16?
16, right?
So
they don't have a 17.
Yeah. So
signed yet. If maybe something happens, you never know. But I doubt it.
I guess we'll see in the next day and a half or whatever.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. Know by Tuesday what the deal is, and if Bridgman's out for a while or not. We'll see what the game notes say on Tuesday. So
could be precautionary.
Yeah,
but it sounded like during the pregame show, Dante didn't say anything about Bridgman being out. He thought he mentioned LaSalle would probably be the last scratch kind of thing. So it was news to him.
Exactly. So maybe it's just obviously maybe he didn't realize or didn't know what the situation was, and
maybe he got hurt during or getting ready or whatever. Who knows, right?
Well, you never know, right? Yeah.
Or just sick. Who knows, right?
That too, right? Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's the week ahead. You got those 2 games on the road, and then
Saturday here against the Raiders.
The Raiders,
another team that's on the upswing.
Yeah. They've won 4 in a row. They beat Red Deer twice. They beat Swift Current, and they beat Portland. Speaking of Portland, they kind of took it on the chin on the end of their road trip. They lost to PA, and then Swift Current took it behind the woodshed 10-1. I don't know if they were just trying to get out of town, forgot that they had one more game left or what, but that was interesting. But yeah, like I said, PA they're kind of rolling. Look at the standings. They're 6-4 in their last 10. They're up to 6th place now, right behind Edmonton. Be a tough one. At least it's at home. See what, like I said, the D situation. If Bridgman's out, that could be Bridgman and Babcock could be out. Like that's trouble, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but
that leaves McNutt as the real vet.
Yeah, the only vet really. So, but it is what it is. You got to roll with it. Yeah, but see what happens this week. Could be a little rougher, obviously, but I mean, PA. It's not like they wouldn't have a chance against PA. I'm not saying they don't have a chance against these other teams, but it's going to be tough. Lethbridge and Medicine Hat they're tough.
I hope I'd like to see the Pats maybe win. Good luck, but
yeah,
in all honesty, in fairness, Medicine Hat could steamroll the Pats. Lethbridge could steamroll the Pats. So. Yeah. Keep the games close. Make them enjoyable that the fans that watch have something to watch, not want to turn it off after a period or two or whatever.
Yeah. And like actually thinking about it, the Calgary was on a 3-3 this past weekend too. They just had a home and home with Medicine Hat, and Medicine Hat beat them both games. So the one went to shootout.
8-round shootout, I think they said.
8-round, okay.
They said whatever, after the game or during the game.
Yeah. So, but it'll be see what happens this week. Might be a little tougher for the boys, but
it's going to be. Well, it's not going to be. Might be. It's going to be, especially down Babcock, probably Bridgman. Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to get them to be hardened veterans very, very fast. They're gonna.
But that's what they want, right? Throw them in the fire, right?
They're going to be in the fire for sure. The next couple of games for sure.
Yeah. But hey, that's what Al wants. Wants some playing minutes, right? That's why they moved up these older guys.
They're going to play a lot of minutes. Like Medicine Hat's 8-1-1 in the last 10.
Yeah.
Lethbridge is 8-2.
Yeah, they made the trade for Jordan Gustafson from Seattle. Got his rights from Seattle, and I don't know if he's played much this year, but he came in as injured when they brought him in. He was on the injured list, and then he played this weekend and had a hat trick. So that's a nice addition, right?
4 goals in 3 games.
4 goals. That's it. Yeah. Okay.
4 goals in 3 games, 5 points.
Yeah.
That's not very bad.
Yeah. So. Yeah, nice little addition. Obviously, a pro, one of those guys, a pro returnee at the deadline to add to an already pretty good team, right? So,
yeah, it's going to be an interesting couple of games. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully the Pats can keep them close, keep the games decent. That's all I'm hoping for, because these games could get out of hand really quick.
They could.
And I hope it doesn't happen.
No.
But
you hate to see it, but it happens, right? Like,
yeah.
So. But yeah, with that, you got anything else for this week? I don't think I have too much else. Not much news going on. Obviously, trade deadline's over.
Yeah, deadline's going.
Stuff's wrapped up. Just head on to this interview. Obviously, now we're hitting up these new guys. Ephram McNutt this week. Obviously, we didn't know much about him. We did a little research online. Came across some stuff, so we were able to. We had a few talking points, and Ephram was a great interview. As you see, it's 30 minutes long. He's got no problem talking. He's got a lot of life experience, so nice to see a guy.
He's 19 years old, and the kid's been here and there, and it's had a lot of stuff go on. It was very cool.
Yeah, no, it's kind of nice to meet him
kid.
And get to know his story, and it's a pretty good story. So
very interesting kid.
All right, we're pleased to welcome Ephram McNutt, one of the newest Pats. Welcome, Ephram.
Thanks, guys.
First off, we heard you're from the Maritimes or out that direction. Where were you born?
Well, that's that kind of throws a wrench into it. I was born in Yellowknife, so that doesn't really answer your question, I guess. But I grew up majority of my life in Truro, Nova Scotia. But I was born in Yellowknife and kind of made my rounds in the northern Canadian Arctic, and then back to the East Coast. So, yeah.
So what took your family up there to Yellowknife?
Yeah, my mom's an RCMP officer, and she was in a Nuvik, very northern Northwest Territories, and then Tuktoyaktuk and a Aklavik. So a couple really isolated postings, and then
Very
basically
north.
she came down. Yeah, for sure, she came down to Yellowknife, so I could be born more or less at a real hospital, and then we went way up back north again to Tuktoyaktuk and a Aklavik.
So how old were you when you moved to Nova Scotia then?
Maybe 4 or 5.
Okay,
4
so
or
you don't
5.
remember much of the Northwest
No,
Territories?
like I'd like to say I do, but I think really it's more that I see like videos and photos of it, and then it kind of sparks my memory maybe. But yeah, it was definitely a cool experience and good to be up there, and experience kind of something that a lot of people never will. So.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I do. I have a sister, and she just had a baby. So yeah, I'm a fresh uncle, I guess.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Was she a sports person too, or?
She was Canada Games triathlete, very competitive swimmer. Never really. She played a bit of hockey and up until high school, kind of, and then her triathlons kind of took over. Then she had kind of a career-ending shoulder injury and just could never really fully recover. Something I guess with swimmers always have bad shoulders. So, yeah, she's a very athletic girl as well. Could always pick up on really whatever sport she wanted. But yeah, her background's triathlons and swimming.
Oh, nice.
Are you related to former WHL and Pat Ephram McNutt?
Yeah, I get that question a lot. Actually, my temporary billet when I first got traded here was where he's living. So it's his old billet when he was a Pat, but now he's playing at U of R, and he just still lives at that place and just kind of pays rent and is just a guy that lives there. Not really a billet anymore per se.
Yeah, roommate now.
But yeah, he's there. Actually, no, we weren't cousins, I guess. And then we ended up chatting, and he said he had a grandparent from the East Coast, and then kind of we got chatting, and I think we are now. I can't say like totally certain, but I definitely would have told you no about 3 weeks ago, but now I'm going to tell you yes.
Okay.
Nice. So when did you start playing hockey?
Maybe 6, maybe? I see a lot of kids skating so young now. Maybe I got a little bit of a late start compared to some of these crazy early starters now because we were in the north. But, yeah, I think maybe 5-ish. Yeah.
I've had both my girls out on skates at 1.
Oh, yes.
First
yeah,
winter,
I
we took
definitely
them out,
wasn't
but
there.
No.
I think I was wrapped up in a parka
yeah.
when I was 1. So
Yeah. But I don't know if they're going the hockey route, but, yeah, we've had them out skating. They like that. Was hockey the only thing you played, or was there other sports that interest you?
I think it's really important to kind of do everything when you're younger, kind of to really excel on that athletic ability. I've always been a big believer in that. I was fortunate enough that my parents had the money and time. Well, I think they didn't have time sometimes, but they made time. I played soccer, baseball, lacrosse. I did a brief stint in triathlons. I actually wasn't terrible, I guess. I loved it. It just kind of later on in life, hockey kind of took over, and I had to kind of push that away. We just moved on a golf course, so I'm golfing a bit now, and mountain biking and skiing I've done too. I'm a pretty big mountain biker. Dad and I just bought motorcycles, so we're doing that now too. I think I have too many hobbies realistically, but it's a good issue to have for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure, definitely.
Have you always played D, or have you ever strapped on the pads?
Yeah, I've had that question sometimes too. Definitely no pads. Absolutely not. My girlfriend's
not
a goalie,
once?
and she's a weirdo, so I wouldn't. I've definitely never taken that interest up, but I think really I've been D the whole time. I was a decent backward skater early on, so that kind of coach was always like, "Okay, you're going back." So I was kind of forced that direction, but really always defense. The odd time I jump up with forward, but yeah, defense is the life, I guess.
Yeah. You didn't strap on the pads once in novice or whatever when everybody
I definitely did not strap on the pads ever in my life. Road hockey is an exception,
That's different.
but I'm proud to say I've never had pads on. Yeah.
So your parents were pretty influential in you and your sister's upbringing into the sports side of things too?
Yeah, absolutely. Dad was a pretty athletic guy, has a pretty heavy background in football and rugby. So he was always on that side of things. He didn't play a whole lot of hockey when he was younger, but yeah, definitely a lot of rugby and football. Mom was an athlete as well, ran a lot, swam a lot. She does some triathlons now as well. And I've been so fortunate to have parents who, again, put in the time and money and the time when it might not necessarily have been there. Dad was a shift worker, mom was a shift worker, so it was definitely tough to find time for them, but they always put us first. So I'm super beyond fortunate for that.
So who's your favorite player growing up?
My favorite player?
Yeah, or players.
Being from the East Coast, I had the privilege of watching Duran and McKinnon when they played Halifax Moosehead. So
nice.
I don't think we ever had season tickets because we were like 40-ish minutes away from the rink, our house. I don't think we had season tickets, but we always got to a good amount of games. And so I think McKinnon, just because I had the privilege of watching him when he was young and kind of in my position now. But Crosby, again, both from Cole Harbour, so those are two guys that come to mind. But McKinnon, I think, just has always had a big spot in my mind just because I, again, did see him when he was young. So I watched him tear up the queue and Drouin as well. So
definitely. So going back to minor hockey, what was your favorite minor hockey memory?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I kind of bounced around in minor hockey a bit, but I did the Brick Invitational in Edmonton, Alberta, when I was living on the East Coast. The Atlantic Canadian team folded because they were getting kind of worked a bit and could never really have much success. So that team folded, so I didn't really think I'd have a chance to play in the tournament. But I ended up being picked up by Montreal Ice Storm, so I was played as an import, and that was really cool. So I think that would be my greatest memory. It's really like a pro tournament. Like I've never seen anything like it. Like you're 10 years old and you have all the merch and the media and the rink is packed, and I don't think I've ever had that much fun, honestly, and just being exposed to like a pro experience was such a cool thing.
I think anybody that plays in that seems to be their top memory. Like it's like a number one kind of thing for them to just be able to play in that event, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just it's so professional and kind of like nothing I've ever really seen. Sometimes I look back and think, man, I wish we did that in the dub. But it's definitely a cool thing and a great experience.
So fast forwarding just a little bit, when the Bantam draft day came, were you following the draft online, or did you take a sick day from school, or you?
Yeah, that was, again, kind of a weird one because I came late for the year, my second year Bantam year, from Nova Scotia, so that was the year I moved. So I was a Q guy and, quite frankly, an NCAA guy at that point. There's a lot of exposure from schools down in that Boston area, New England area that's very close to where I lived, and I played a ton of hockey in that Boston area, so that was kind of the thought. But then when I came out here, obviously Dub came. It's a year earlier than the Q. So, yeah, it was a weird position. I came late again for my Bantam year, got some interest from the Dub, and some teams had passed because I had considered going back east, and some teams heard I was going back east. And so, yeah, I think I ended up going a little bit later than maybe I had thought. But, again, I wasn't even sure if I was going to play in the Dub. So if I hadn't have, I would have been eligible for the Q the year later because it's a different year. But, yeah, I was obviously very excited. It was an absolute pleasure to get drafted by the Cougars. My time there was incredible. But, yeah, it was weird. Like, it's not really something that I looked into, like, my whole life, like a lot of the other guys. So, yeah, I don't think it hit home quite as hard as it would have if I grew up in the West, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, getting drafted by PG, it's kind of remote, but you're kind of used to that. Was there any trepidation going to PG or
yeah,
not?
it's again, you're way up there. The travel really does suck. You can't really say it any other way. Your closest game's almost 7 hours to Kamloops.
Yeah.
And it's weird. I didn't day trip. My first day trip was when I came here and played in Brandon. So it's weird. We'd always go the night before and a ton of time in hotels and on the bus. But moving from that Halifax Truro area, there's a lot of trees and forest, and that's kind of where I grew up. And then coming to Red Deer, you can see your dog run away. So so it was kind of a culture shock when I came out here. But then when I went to PG, it did feel a bit more like Truro in the sense, you get that deep forest and thick brush and stuff. So it did feel a little more like home, I think, for sure.
So then now with the NCAA rule change, what does that kind of say to you? Like, you still maybe have the opportunity to go NCAA now? Yeah,
absolutely. It's definitely, again, a weird spot. I was kind of set on that when I was younger, and And then, signing in the dub, it just kind of all went away. And it was almost a little bit random when it came out that now we're eligible again. And obviously it's very exciting. I've told my parents that I feel bad for guys like who I would have been, who said no to the dub and played junior A. And now it's just like, okay, now all the dub guys are eligible. And those guys are probably like, man, like it just makes it a lot tougher for those guys. So I really do feel for those guys who held out. But yeah, again, I'm not going to complain, really. No. I'm super excited. It's something I always wanted. I've been in touch with some schools, and I'm really excited about it. I think it's a great opportunity, especially for guys who, had good grades through high school and valued their academics. So I think, good for them. If we can go there, that's awesome. So
yeah, it's another good option. You got
lots of options now. Right?
CIS here, you got NCAA, and then you still have the pro. So yeah, everybody's at a different stage in their career.
Absolutely.
Coming out of junior, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
So what was it like playing in Portland and Spokane and those places? The Rowdy Barns in the playoffs. When it gets nuts and stuff down there. What's it like?
it's again, cultural shock. It's, being from Truro, and it's even Calgary and Edmonton. It's not as big as Portland and Seattle and some of those cities like that. And yeah, man, I went down there and I stayed at that hotel in Kent, Washington the first time. And I was like, I don't think I want to be here that long. Yeah, Kent's kind of a rough spot, but you go to those barns, and it's kind of weird. People always think Canadian people are so passionate about their hockey, and then you go in an American barn, and it's next level. So, yeah, I had the privilege of playing Portland twice in playoffs now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it doesn't get any crazier than that. PG has an electric atmosphere for playoffs as well, but it's just different. You go down there, and people are, threatening you and throwing stuff on the ice. It's a bit crazy, but good for them, and it's a great spot to play when the fans are so into it.
They pay the big money to sit by the glass.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, Portland does have that weird setup because it's an old basketball arena, so they have that weird bowl around. Yeah, it's strange.
Their front row is the most expensive ticket in the building.
Yeah,
so it's wild.
But yeah, it's strange. Yeah.
But I think the American fan, they're there to cheer. Like they're not armchair GMs like Canadians are, because we're so invested in hockey that we're second guessing everything on the ice. But like the Americans, I've heard it, you've seen it even on WHL Live and stuff. Like they're crazy. They're going all the time. It's like the lacrosse, right, where everybody's cheering the whole time. It's a totally different environment, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I have a story that I've told a couple of people. It was so funny. I was getting on the bench, and there was kind of a hood, the saggy pants, and a lot of that culture you see in kind of that inner city area. He had nothing wrong with him, but he had said to his friend, "What's an offside?" And I just thought that was so funny, because you see so much of that. Again, like, Canadians are so invested in hockey and they know what's going on. I think a lot of those guys are just there for a beer and a good time.
Entertainment,
yeah. So it's funny to see that kind of perspective on hockey, and just they're rowdy, they're into it, but I don't know how much knowledge, I guess, they have in the game.
Big hits and fights.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Coming for the NASCAR crashes, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So now that you're a bit older, what players do you look at to emulate your game with?
I think it's tough to overlook Cale Makar. I don't think I necessarily play like him at all, but Cale Makar, like just taking pieces from his game and his just next level skills, I think that's definitely a thing that I can use, defensive play and getting up in the offensive zone. And I think you see that with a ton of players. Early on it was Erik Karlsson kind of leading that offensive pace, and he's had a couple good years lately as well. So I think Erik Karlsson, when I was younger, was always the guy I kind of wanted to model my game after. But now I've been asked that question. I don't even think I can say one player. I just like to take pieces from a lot of different players and kind of use it to solidify my identity. So yeah, that's a tough question, but I don't think I could say one player for sure.
Yeah, take bits and pieces from everybody, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So you talk about the travel back when you were in PG. What was your favorite bus activity? Like, what would you do on the bus for 7 hours or 16 hours or 14 hours? What did you guys do, or what did you do?
Yeah, I wish I could give you a really cool answer, but a lot of it was studying and movies. So I wish I had something awesome to tell you, but definitely a lot of that. But we played some cards too, and I think as much as it does suck at times, it is good for the culture. The guys are together and kind of having a good time when maybe it's not the most fun when you're slumming it at 3 a.m. and stuff. So yeah, as much as it is kind of unfortunate how much travel there is, it does build character and it gets the team close. So that is a unique thing in that.
Every trip's a road trip.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it really is. Like I know how close Regina is to Moose Jaw, but it's so shocking that like it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know if the road trip or all the road hours, does that help you guys when you got into the playoffs? Like, because you guys were ready for that, like the big long travel?
Yeah, I would definitely say yes. It's something that, a team like Portland has when they do their long road trips. But in their own division stuff, they don't have those road trips. Well, no one does.
No.
So, yeah, I think that is definitely an advantage. I think we saw it with Portland. They came to our barn the first game in playoffs last year, and we put it to them because they're just not used to that travel. And we held in. That was a great series.
Yeah.
It really could have went either way. But yeah, I think that definitely is an advantage that we saw in playoffs time and time again through the years. So, yeah, I would say for sure.
What were your thoughts when you got traded to Regina?
I think it was bittersweet. I have nothing but good things to say about PG. I was really close with Jimmy Playfair, the associate coach. A great atmosphere there. The guys were super nice. I was there for a few years, so I got really close with the guys. My best friend Cohen Zemer's there. My other best friend Caden Brown was there, but lucky enough he's here now, so that kind of worked out. But yeah, again, I think I'm super excited with the opportunity here and a lot of young guys I can teach what I wish I had known, I guess. So that's a big opportunity for me, and I'm more than happy to pass any knowledge I have and tell them the mistakes I did so they don't have to make them like I did, I guess. So, yeah, it's bittersweet for sure.
What do you think of the city? No forest around or anything like that?
No forest for sure. Actually, Regina's bigger than I thought. I will say that. I wasn't aware that it was that big. I thought it was considerably smaller than Saskatoon. And, yeah, obviously it's not, so that was a surprise. But I've been here before. My mom farmed in Unity, so she kind of knows the area a little bit. We've been to Saskatchewan plenty of times, so, yeah.
So it's not really a shock?
Yeah, no, it's not a shock at all. And it's similar enough to Red Deer, really. You go west a little bit in Red Deer and you're in the mountains, but when you're in Red Deer, again, you can see the next city an hour away, so, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? What Alan Miller's doing here? You got a lot of young guys for you to mentor. Like, what are you thinking of his kind of process here?
Yeah, I think it's really what was needed. A refresh is what kind of we could all see coming, I guess, for Regina, and that's been really important. I think at the same time it is important, like to have guys like John Babcock and Caden Brown and those guys who have, had some playoff experience. John was in a big playoff run. Brownie was in a playoff run last year. So, yeah, I think it's important to have guys like that who have some playoff games and experience and be on winning teams to, set the culture and really bring the team to the next level, I guess. So I think culture is something that's lacked potentially a little bit, but I can't blame anyone because, 3/4 of the team's brand new. So,
yes.
So that's been, I think, the biggest struggle as of late. But we're working towards it. We're getting some wins under our belt and doing what we can. Yeah.
Turning things around.
I think it's
absolutely
been pretty good lately with all the new guys, even with all the new bodies that have been playing pretty good, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So when you were in Prince George, you were number 3. Was there any reason you were number 3? Was there any special reason, or was it just one of those?
Not really. Yeah, not really. I wore number 3 a lot on teams where they just made numbers and they gave them to you. So they're they had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and stuff. And if I had a choice, I'd go 54. That's why I picked 55 coming here. But yeah, 3 was just something I always kind of had when I didn't really have a big option. So I just kind of stuck with it. Yeah.
So why 54?
54. My birthday's 5th month, 4th day.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah, that's kind of common that guys have their number, but yeah, that was my reasoning.
Do you have a billet, brother? Do you billet with anybody?
I do, yeah. I came here with my temporary with Adam McNutt, which was so weird when he came upstairs the first time. And then I moved and didn't have one, and now I'm with Caden Brown. So it's couldn't have really worked out any better, cool. Honestly. Yeah, Chichkin was traded, and there was a opening, and yeah, it just kind of fell into place, I guess.
So how do you guys go back to PG? You guys met in PG and just kind of that's how it came together? For
Yeah,
you two?
we didn't really have any experience before that. I had played him a couple times when he played on Delta. He was a good player, big body. Man, he laid some giant hits. I think half the league was scared of him back then. But yeah, we had some experience then. But personally, no. We met in PG, got pretty tight. We were both young guys, so that kind of tied us close. And then Cohen Zemer, we all like to fish and hunt and all that stuff. So I think that's one of the reasons we all kind of came tight. And now the three of us are best friends through the summer and go to a music festival every year. So that's been a good bond we've shared.
So you want to give your billet family a shout
out? Man, which one?
You can even shout out to your PG billet family.
Sure, I'll give a shout out to Tracy, my billet mom of a couple years. We grew really tight. She's the best of the best. I miss her, and I hope everything's all good for her. So yeah.
Who do you have in Regina now?
I have Janelle as my billet mom, and James is my billet dad. They're excellent. Again, I'm new with them.
Yeah.
Like within like a week, so they're really new. But shout out them. They've been absolutely incredible so far.
Awesome. Good. What's the flex on your current stick? Are you a
flex on my current stick? Well, I was with CCM and PG.
Yeah.
Now we're with Bauer, so Bauer runs a little different.
Yeah.
I was using 80s in PG. Now I'm using 82s, I think, is how Bauer runs. It is, because they run 77 and 82. They don't have an 80. Yeah. I went 82. Probably should have went 77. But yeah, whatever. The difference isn't like crazy, so I'm good with it.
You're not too particular.
No, honestly, I'm not really particular at all. Yeah, if you give me some comfy skates and I'm good to go.
Are you more into the curve than the flex? Or does it really matter?
Yeah, probably. Honestly, yeah. But again, I'm not that particular. I like a big hook, honestly. Man, I think I darn near used an OV curve when I was younger, but now I'm using a P28. Same thing. It has a pretty decent hook on it, but I like it. Yeah, I put some pucks over the net. Probably too much, but yeah.
Yeah, the D-man headhunting, hey?
Yeah. Sometimes it's needed. Yeah.
Your tape job, you do anything particular there? Are you a pretty standard guy? Or are you?
I get razzed a bit, honestly. Okay. I don't really tape my stick. I think the stick I'm using right now I taped before Christmas, honestly. So yeah, nice. The guys give it to me a little bit. I don't really see the huge value as long as there's not tape like hanging off my stick. Yeah. I'm all right.
I like to let mine run.
Yeah,
let it get
it's
dirty.
Actually it's a little bit absurd, honestly, but yeah.
So we understand you're studying to be a pilot. How's that going?
Yeah, it's great. It's I think ever since I was a little kid, just the thought of being able to fly, like, I don't know, it's just a weird, humans can't fly, but we can, I get, you know what I mean? So I think that was just such a cool thing when I was younger, and now I have the opportunity to kind of pursue that. It's a hobby for now, but it could eventually lead to a career, so that's kind of my back pocket if needed. For now, it's a hobby. I'm really close to getting my private pilot's license. Basically, I have a test in a few hours, and then I'm good to go. So yeah, it's been really cool. Again, something that can kind of take your mind off hockey and something I'm passionate about. So I think that's really important, and something I've really stressed to the young guys to find something that they love to do on a day off, or just something to take their mind off it sometimes when it can get into the heat of the season.
Well, there is a flying club in Regina, so
there is. I flew in the Prince George Flying Club a couple times, and I think just coming a little bit later in the year, I figured, I might as well just wait and hold off. But I will be going to the Flying Club to write a couple tests, potentially fly. I'm not sure yet, but I haven't reached out to them yet. But I'll definitely have a couple tests to do, maybe a couple flights. We'll see. Yeah.
Have you talked to Braxton about it? He seems to be somewhat interested in that as well.
Yeah, I have. He's obviously committed to ASU, and they have a flight program, so that would interest me. His dad's a pilot as well, so he has some experience in that and kind of knows some of the ins and outs that I don't. I've definitely talked to him. He's considering it if ASU will let him, because ASU kind of has a weird system where their university doesn't offer the flight school. It's their polytechnic, and it's I don't know, a half-hour drive from their university or something, but it's still same owners and stuff. So people definitely do it. I'm just not sure how common it is with hockey players.
So, well, with that, what do you see yourself doing after hockey? Do you see yourself maybe being a pilot?
Oh, yeah, that's...
We're sticking with hockey something or other?
Like life after hockey.
That's
That's
the question, I guess. Something I've talked about with my parents and, with the school stuff. I think it's do I try and get into a school that has a flight program, or do I try and go, do my dream's been Ivy League, I'll say that for sure. When I was younger, having the Harvards and Princeton's kind of down in that area was always definitely a dream. So we'll see. I don't really know. I definitely have a business eye, some experience with flying, obviously, and again, that's such a tough question. I think that's such a tough question for a lot of kids my age, honestly.
For sure.
So I've thought about it when I was younger. I looked in the medical field. My girlfriend's mom's a veterinarian, so she's kind of pushed that a little bit on me. But we'll see, I guess. Again, with that NCAA, there's a lot of doors that are open for me now. It's just deciding which one to open, I guess.
You mentioned a few things that you do off ice and hobbies. What you've almost got too many, like you said, but what do you do just to get away from the rink some days? Just a regular day off?
Here, a regular day off. We've ice fished a couple times. I love to fish. That's I did it when I was younger. We have a place on the lake, and I've kind of fished my whole life, really, and that's something that, again, takes your mind off it. You can get in the outdoors. That definitely clears my mind. I've taken a couple guys. I love taking guys out who haven't done a ton of it, and that's super cool for me, for them to experience, catching their first fish or something. So that's super cool for me to experience, and them to get out and take up that hobby as well. So ice fishing's been it recently, and it's really good around here. So
yeah, my neighbor just had his trailer in the driveway, and he must have pulled it out today. He went and parked it wherever he's going.
Oh, so, perfect.
Yeah, he's got an old camper. We were doing the heater in the summer. Doing his heater.
Cool. Cut
a hole in the roof and everything, and
good stuff.
So do you have any superstitions or rituals at the rink or away from the rink?
Yeah, I've been asked that too a bit. That's a good question too. No, I think honestly the short answer is no. There's a couple things, like, I don't even know if they're superstitions. They're just kind of part of a routine. Yeah, I wouldn't even say they're superstitions, because if I didn't do it or forgot it, it wouldn't like mess with my mind or something.
Ruin your
so
day.
Yeah, I don't really think. I just think no, I don't.
Other interests like TV, movies. What are you into there?
Brownie and I are watching Landman right now. That's kind of been, it's similar to Yellowstone, just with like oil and gas.
Yeah.
That's been what we've been watching. I loved Prison Break. Through COVID, Mom and I kind of binged that a bit when we had nothing else to do in our lives. But that was something that I loved. Walking Dead I loved. But right now it's that Landman. It's been good.
Good. Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. That's on my watch list.
It's on my watch list as well.
Yeah.
What about music? What's your musical interest, or do you have a wide variety, or do you have like a favorite band or favorite genre?
I think if you looked at my playlist, you'd see like 15 different genres. I think predominantly country and folk, I guess. I do love a good, East Coast heritage music too. I loved going to that when I was a young kid on the ocean. They'd have little get-togethers and some incredibly talented people with fiddles and violins back there. So that's cool, but I think predominantly country. The odd time some like 90s rap or something, but yeah.
Depending on the mood, hey?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
What kind of car are you driving these days?
I'm driving a Subaru Outback Wilderness Edition.
Seems fitting.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it really is. We've been kind of a Subaru family for a long time. We have a couple Subarus now, and it really is fitting. Fishing and getting out in the wilderness. Well, it's called the wilderness, I guess. So yeah, it's perfect. It definitely did a little bit better in PG. I don't think I necessarily need the extra clearance and stuff in Regina, but some of those potholes are a bit gnarly. So,
and the snow piles too.
The snow piles too, for sure. Yeah.
Which jerseys do you prefer? Do you prefer the normal white and blues, or do you prefer the alternate red and whites?
I think I prefer. I'll say I prefer the blues over the reds. but I prefer the other whites, like the
Alternate.
the alternate white
PPCL
over
ones.
our normal ones. I'll say that.
That seems to-
I love all four. I think I've always said Regina has great jerseys, but yeah, I would say that what I just said. Yeah.
It seems to be an answer from a lot of the guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, the red, I don't know. I like the red. I just don't think we're like that red of a team. Like we're not a full red jersey team. I don't know. That's just my thought.
Yeah. Good.
You've only been here for a short time, but what does it mean to you to play for the Pats?
Yeah, it's huge. You know, you look at the difference between the Cougars and the Pats. It's just, you know, right now we've struggled a bit this year, but just the history of this team is just so deep. So I think, you know, being from the East Coast, when you think of WHL, Regina and Edmonton, those are the teams that you really thought of. You didn't think of some of the other smaller teams. Like, this is a team who's been around for so long, and I think that's why it means so much. It's one of those teams, no matter how much they're struggling, it's just they always have a big name and a lot of pull with wearing the Pat jersey. So it's definitely an honor playing for such an old, historic team, I guess.
Well, thank you very much for your time tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys. Good to be here.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, yeah, that was a great interview. I thought it's kind of cool that he's actually rooming with a great friend and Caden Brown, like you said there, and Caden Brown's going to be our next interview. Not too sure when that one's going to come out. Maybe next week.
In the next couple weeks, yeah.
Yeah, see if we get this Miller thing coming soon.
Maybe,
but
hopefully.
Yeah. Other than that, yeah, I mean, it was really good. So yeah, he was really outgoing. It was awesome. So like you said, though, he's 19. It was a good chat. So anything else you got for this week, Kev?
No, I think that's enough. We've talked too long already.
Yeah,
but it is what it is, and it was a really good interview. Nice to meet the future pilot.
Yeah, maybe you'll be flying you around sometime soon here. So.
Maybe.
But yeah, all right. Well, with that, we should get out of here. So see you at the rink later this week.
Take it easy.